Hi, I'm Jeffrey Miller. My father was the original owner of my 1967 Volkswagen Beetle, and I desperately need Garage Squad's help getting it back on the road. In 1967, my dad bought this as a brand new VW Bug, and it's been in the family ever since. It was in this car I was in my first wreck when I was 3 years old. This car took my dad to school at Georgia Tech for his master's degree in the 1960s. Ushered my parents away from their wedding at the Citadel to their honeymoon in Pigeon Forge. It took us from Air Force bases in Georgia to Maryland to Florida. Took a pit stop back in Georgia where my grandfather drove it back and forth to Lockheed while we lived overseas in the early 80s. And then continued on its family mission after we returned back to the USA. While we lived in Virginia in the early 80s, I have vivid memories of my dad and I replacing the engine in the driveway of our home, learning how to do brake jobs, and him teaching me how to drive a stick shift in the cul-de-sac long before I was old enough to drive. From there, it was on to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in the late 1980s, where I eventually became my daily driver to high school, and of course back and forth to the beach, and countless miles up and down Ocean Boulevard. Eventually, in the early 90s, the rear seal went out, and Dad drug our aging family Bug to Ohio and eventually to Georgia, where he and Mom retired. He kept the Bug covered in the driveway for years, until he towed it to Myrtle Beach for me, and that's where it has sat, in my garage, for 15 plus years, while newer cars have come and gone and lived and died outside in our driveway. Year after year, I've thought about getting back to work on the Bug, but life always got in the way. My dream had been to at least get it running, cleaned up, and have Dad take Mom on a literal spin down memory lane. Tragically, Dad was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2019. He passed away in 2020. I've got a 2-car garage, an old Bug, a positive attitude, and I'm a great host and helper. A friend of mine has offered up his warehouse for our use if the Bug is selected by your team and you'd rather work on it there. Help me, Garage Squad. You're my only hope.